Thank you.
Welcome everybody to our first PAB board meeting of the year. I'll start off with welcome and introductions. My name is Larry Knox. I'm chair. Oh yeah, microphone.
I don't know if we need it.
Might as well get into practice. Welcome to the first PAB meeting. Green light, no.
Is there speakers or?
Might be hooked up to the door system.
I was gonna say, does it just go for the wireless?
There's something.
There we go.
There you go.
Check.
All right. Welcome to the first PAB meeting of the year. My name is Larry Knox, chair of the Police Accountability Board. Start with introductions.
I'm Rabbi Doris Settle, and I am the Northwest Council representative on the board.
I'm Dr. Ricky Harvey, and I'm the mayor's representative on the board.
Good evening to everyone. Arlene Brown. I'm a representative from the Alliance. And healthy New Year to everyone.
Good evening. My name is Dan Fidel Sr., and I sit on the board.
My name is Matthew Nicolau. I am the Council South seats. City Council.
Good evening. I'm Sherry Walker Coward. I'm the interim executive director.
Dr. Harrison will be joining us shortly, and Ms. Tucker is out of town and won't be able to join tonight's board meeting. All right, we'll start off with, and also we'll start off with our minutes from the last meeting. Marina, our board assistant, emailed those out to everybody earlier in the week. I had a couple changes. Anybody else have any changes in the minute? Just one change for attendees. We did, Dr. Harrison was also at the meeting, so just adding Dr. Harrison to the meeting. And for the votes, they would have been 6-0 and not 7-0. We're missing Mr. Cadet and Tucker. Any other additions or changes to the meeting? To the minutes of the meeting? Motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Okay.
All in favor of approving the minutes? All right, on to our staff report. So I'd like to introduce everybody, our new interim executive director, Sherry Walker Court. She is very new to the job, so this report won't be as extensive as they may be in the future, but again, welcome, Ms. Walker Court, and I'd like to hear from you.
Thank you. Yes, this will be brief. Monday was a holiday, so I've only been here a few days. But in the process, I've been really just gathering a lot of information, reading a lot of information as well. But I've also had the chance to sit and listen to, chat with, but listen to a number of the staff people and some of the different groups that they work with. I had the chance to sit and listen with the investigators, and that was very helpful. Some conversations with the policy team and the case management, not as much conversation, but I sat in on a training as we introduced this new case management system that sounds like it would be helpful once we get through the glitches and work things out, that it'll be available to all the employees. So that's something that's really positive. In terms of numbers, I really don't have too many numbers in terms of cases, although I did get an email from Captain Sweatman that said that, and I think you already knew that we had provided about 49 cases to them. And as of December 30th, he said, I think 44 of those have been responded to. And so I'll get to follow up and do some one-on-ones that are scheduled for the next couple of weeks with people to find out what those next steps are and what that whole process is. But right now, Again, I'm scheduling one-on-ones, I'm having meetings, I'm listening to people, gathering information and deciding from there what the most important next steps will be. Okay. Any questions?
Thanks, Sherry. Our next is the chair's report. Many of my chair reports in the past have been about getting to this point where we have, Sherry here and getting into the new year. So I'm glad that we can just talk about the new business that we have going forward. I'm really excited about Sherry starting. I know the board is, I know the community is. Really looking forward, to the staff being able to have those one-on-ones with her, and glad meetings already started with the different divisions. There's a lot of work that the community is expecting us to do, and us as a board and the staff and Sherry, in this position, for the community, I want them to know that it's going to be our priority, making sure that gets done and getting the support to the staff, to Sherry that is needed to make that happen. This being the new year, we had an interesting year last year as a PAB. It was our first year. There was a lot of pain, growing pains and otherwise. And for this new year, again, I want us all to keep the focus of the board and staff and leadership of the PAB that the community voted, in 2019 for accountability. And we have to make sure, especially as we start this new year, we do a better job, all of us, of providing that. And I'm really excited and really confident that we're going to do that this year. All right, for committee reports. As I said, training.
So, we will have a training, next week at this time with staff related, to policy report, and the week after we have our final training with, no, 2 weeks after, sorry, we have our final training with FMK on evaluating reports. And I provided last time the training schedule we have so far, and I will keep you updated as we add more.
Any old business? All right, for our new business, I do want to touch on briefly legislation that got proposed and passed by City Council last month. We, didn't know about it in advance, which I hopefully will not happen again. We always want to have a dialogue and continue to have collaboration with City Council when there's legislation proposed or petition proposed about the PAB. I think it's best working practice for us to be able to have a conversation beforehand with what's going to be potentially in the legislation. So we can talk to our staff, talk to our interim executive director about the impact of the legislation and give suggestions to City Council on what they may propose. Obviously, the ultimate decision is up to City Council on that, but there's always, I think, best, when we're working in collaboration, that there's a dialogue beforehand before things are proposed. We did stress that to City Council, and I'm confident that that will happen in the future. There were a lot of concerns in the community, I know from the Alliance, other groups, about the legislation, us here at the PAB on the board, and among the staff had concerns and questions about the legislation. So we'll be following up with council once we speak more with our interim executive director about a response about the impact of the legislation, intent behind what was in the legislation. There's a lot of things that we need clarity on, make sure that there's a complete understanding of what the goals are and making sure they still are what the community wants. And so that's a process that will be going on. Started those conversations already, and after the council, actually right after the council meeting, we had staff that attended the council meeting, and we'll be working with the council members to get some of that clarification on that and making sure there's a better process in the future for our getting legislation through in regards to the PAB. Also, and this isn't directly related to the legislation, but with City Council, we still are waiting for our last seat to be filled, our open seat that we have in the Alliance. It's many, many months past the deadline. I think it's 60 days is when it's supposed to be filled from when an appointment is, when there's an opening on the council, on the board. The Alliance did put their names in, and it's been coming up on months, 5 months, I think now, 4 or 5 months, that opening has been there. And if we have openings in the future, either for council reps or for other alliance reps, for this board to be fully functioning for the community, we need to get those spots filled quickly. There's a lot of trainings we have. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. There needs a lot of understanding of the work with the agency that needs to be understood, and having open board seats for extended periods of time is not helpful for us on the board, for the sharing of the work, and for the community who needs representation on that board. So I know this is something that council is working on, and I encourage them again, as I have in pretty much every meeting, to get that seat filled, and if we have other openings in the future, to make sure there's a better process. I think Dr. Harrison who has just joined us for the meeting. Thank you, Dr. Harrison. And again, for those seats, we're volunteer board members. We're not paid, contrary to what you might hear online on occasion. But we have a commitment to this, and the board is situated, was voted on to have 9 board members, and we've been doing 8 for a while. And we need 9. If there are other openings, we need those filled, promptly, so we can do the work of the agency. Any questions about city council legislation? You go to the city council website if you're watching, that where the proposed legislation is. Again, if you have thoughts or ideas in regards to it, definitely reach out to your council member or to us. And definitely want to make sure when there are things coming up legislative wise that the community's voice is heard. Any questions on anything else for new business? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor?
Yeah, they're just.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
That's what you had. We don't mind being paid.
No, we